There is a patch of skin behind my old dog's ear that used to scab over every single spring. Red and raw, that sour smell coming off it, and him working at it with a back foot till it bled. And last spring, for the first time in years, it just did not come back. His ear is haired over and clean, and I have not needed that $40 bottle of medicated shampoo since. It was not the expensive bottle that fixed it, and it was not another round of pills. I want to show you what it actually was. My name is Steven. I am an old hill farmer up a holler in Madison County, in the mountains of western North Carolina, and dogs have run this ridge with me my whole life. Farm dogs, coonhounds, and the gray old fellow stretched out by the wood stove right now, Bear. I will give it to you straight the whole way through, the cheap thing that works, the dear thing that does not, and the one warning sign that means you stop doctoring at home and let a real veterinarian take the wheel, because there is a kind of skin infection that has no business being treated in a bathtub. So here is the whole of it right up front before I explain a thing. A dog's skin infection, the common surface kind, the itchy, crusty, smelly kind, is almost never the real trouble. It is a symptom. Something underneath it broke the skin down and let the infection in. And if you only ever treat the infection, you will be buying that shampoo and running for pills every spring for the rest of that dog's life. So the fixing comes in two parts, and you get both from me today. One is clearing the infection off the skin the right way, which is cheaper and simpler than what you have been sold. The other, the part there is no money in, so nobody bothers to teach it, is hunting down what broke the skin in the first place and setting it right. Do both, and it quits coming back. Here is what is going on down on the skin, because once you see it, the fix makes sense. Every dog alive is carrying bacteria and yeast on his hide right now. Bear is. Your dog is. There is a staph germ that lives on healthy dog skin as an ordinary thing and never causes a lick of trouble, so long as the skin is doing its job. Working skin is a sealed barrier, a little oiled, a little acidic, keeping those germs out where they belong. A skin infection is not your dog catching something new. It is that same everyday germ getting in through skin that broke down and let it. So what breaks the skin down? That is the whole ball game. Most of the time it is scratching. The dog is itchy from fleas or from something he is allergic to, and he digs and chews until the skin tears open and the germ walks right in. Other times it is damp, moisture sitting trapped against the skin where no air can reach it, down in a fold under a wet collar, in a coat that never dried after a swim. And now and again it is a body run down low, an old dog, a sick dog, a dog whose thyroid has gone sluggish. The skin doctors say it plainer than I can, and it is the one sentence worth carrying out of all of this. Their own guidance says a dog's skin infection is always secondary to some underlying cause, every single time. There is a reason the skin gave way, and that reason is the actual cure. Picture a brown water stain spreading across your ceiling. You can get up there and paint over it, and for a week or two it looks fine, and then it bleeds right back through, because the paint was never the problem. There is a cracked shingle up on the roof, letting the rain in, and until you fix that shingle, you will be repainting forever. The stain is your dog's infection. The medicated shampoo is the paint. It covers the spot, it even helps some, but if painting is all you ever do, you will be at it for years. Most folks with an itchy, scabby dog have already tried a whole shelf of stuff, and some of it is quietly making things worse. The medicated shampoo itself is not a scam, and I want to be fair about that. There is a good working ingredient in the decent ones, and I am going to have you use it. The waste is in two places, the price and the way people use it. On price, you can walk into a fancy pet shop and hand over $35, $40 for a boutique bottle with a mountain on the label, when the working part inside it is the very same working part in an $8 bottle at the farm store or online. You are paying for the mountain. The bigger waste is how it gets used, and this is the part one really needs you to hear. Most people wash the dog the way they wash their own hands. Wet him, squirt some on, scrub for 30 seconds, rinse, done. And then they wonder why nothing changed. A medicated wash does not work on contact. It has to sit on the skin long enough to actually kill the germ, and 30 seconds is nowhere near long enough. You just rinsed your money down the drain. Doing it right costs you nothing but 10 extra minutes standing in the bathroom, and I will walk you through it in a minute. A few more things people reach for that belong back on the shelf. Straight hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol poured on a raw open patch. It fizzes up and feels like it is cleaning, but on broken skin it burns the very cells that are trying to heal the wound, and it stings the poor dog something awful. And the human medicine cabinet, the itch creams, and the antibiotic ointments go easy there. A dog just licks them off, and a steroid cream smeared on an infection can let the germ run wild underneath it. And I have to say a hard word about the home cures, because this one lands dogs in the emergency room. You will read that you ought to dab a natural oil on the spot, and tea tree oil gets recommended the most. Please do not. Tea tree oil is toxic to a dog. A dog with raw, broken skin soaks it straight in and licks the rest off, and it has caused tremors and worse. A thing being natural does not make it safe to put on a dog. There is a folk mix that goes around too, a borax and peroxide slurry poured over the dog. I am not going to walk you through it, because I am not about to tell a stranger to mix up a chemical bath and pour it over a dog with open sores. I would rather hand you the thing I know is safe and know works. And the last one, running round after round of antibiotic pills without a soul ever asking why the skin keeps giving way. Pills with nobody hunting the cause is the surest road back to this same spot next spring. None of this is new, mind you. My people were doctoring dogs like this long before there was a pet aisle to walk down. My grandfather, Papa I called him, ran coonhounds on this very ridge, and I never once saw him buy a bottle of anything for their skin. He had a black and tan hound named Jip, who was prone to an angry raw spot on her hindquarters every wet season, and Papa did two plain things about it. First, he kept her dry. He would not abide a dog staying wet. He toweled them down rough after the creek, and every few days he ran his fingers down through the coat to the hide, feeling for the start of a spot before his eyes could even find it. Second, when a spot did come up, he washed it, and he let the wash sit and soak while he crouched there talking low to her, then rinsed her, dried her well, and clipped the hair back around the spot so the air could get to it. That was the whole of the doctoring. He would have laughed out loud at a $40 bottle, and not just because he was tight with $1, though he surely was. He knew the wash was the small half of it. Keeping her dry and catching it early was the real work, and that cost nothing at all. So here is the fix, both parts, slow and plain enough to do tonight. Part 1. Clear the infection off the skin. You want to wash with chlorhexidine in it. That is the working ingredient, chlorhexidine, and it is a mouthful, so just hunt for it on the label, somewhere in the 2 to 4% range, which is what the skin doctors use. A good bottle runs you under $10 and lasts months. That is your paint for the stain, and used right, it is a real medicine, not a gimmick. Now the right way to use it, because this is where the whole thing lives or dies. Get him good and wet with warm water, all the way down to the skin. Then work the wash in, and I mean really work it down through the coat to the hide with your fingers, because the infection is on the skin, and lathering up the top of the fur does nothing at all. Where there are crusts and scabs, let the warm water and the wash soften them loose over a few baths. Do not go picking them off and making him bleed. Cover the bad spots, then go on over the rest of him. And then comes the step everybody skips. You let it sit. 10 minutes. Set the timer on your phone if you have to. Stand there and keep him company and keep him from shaking off, and let that wash stay against the skin a full 10 minutes so it can do the job. Then rinse it clean out. That 10 minutes of waiting is the whole difference between a wash that works and $40 circling the drain. You do that 2 or 3 times a week while a flare is going, not just a single time. Once it clears, keep on about a week past the day it looks healed, because the germ is still settling down under there after the top looks fine. Then you can ease off, and after every bath, dry him. Get him dry clear down to the skin, not just the outer coat, because a damp dog is a dog set up for the next flare. If the spot sits down in a fold or under a heavy coat, put a fan on him or a dryer on the cool low setting, and part the hair so the skin itself dries. If there is one angry patch, take scissors and clip the hair back around it, just an inch, so air can reach it and it can stay dry. Air and dryness do half the healing on their own. And between baths, if one raw spot is flaring, dab it a couple times a day with a chlorhexidine wipe or a little of the diluted wash on a cotton pad. Cheap, gentle, keeps the germ knocked down in the meantime. Now the line, and I need you to take this one to heart. Everything I just gave you is for the common surface infection. A crusty, itchy patch, some redness, a bit of smell, a scab or two, A dog who is irritated but otherwise himself, eating and wagging and going about his day, that you handle in the tub. Here is what you do not handle in the tub. Skin that is hot and swollen and truly painful. A dog who yelps or snaps when you go near it. Puss. A patch spreading fast or swelling that seems to run deep under the skin instead of sitting on the surface. A dog running a fever or gone off his food or just flat and low and not himself. That is a deep infection down in the tissue, a real medical problem, and no amount of good washing will ever reach it, and sitting home hoping can let it get away from you fast. That one wants a veterinarian and maybe a culture to find out exactly which germ it is and which medicine puts it down, and the right antibiotic to run alongside your washing. Going in for that is no failure and nothing to be ashamed of. The best keeper of dogs is not the one who never sets foot in a clinic. He is the one who knows which spot he can handle and which one he cannot. Do not play the hero with a deep one. And the same holds if it simply will not quit. If you are doing everything right and that skin keeps breaking down season after season, the dog is telling you the real cause is still there, unfound, and running that down is worth a vet's help too. Which carries us right into the second piece of this, the one that actually ends it. Part 2. Find what broke the skin and set it right. There is nothing to sell here, which is exactly why it never gets the airtime the shampoo does. Start with fleas, always, even if you would swear on a stack your dog has not got a single one. A lot of dogs are downright allergic to flea bites, and that one fact changes everything, because for a dog like that, it does not take an infestation. It takes one bite, just the one. That single nip lights up an itch that has him scratching himself raw, and the raw skin turns into the infection you are staring at. So good flea control is not some side note here. For a whole lot of these dogs, it is the entire cause, and the first place to look. Next, damp, which I have been harping on the whole time. Go find where moisture is sitting trapped against your dog and clear it out. The wrinkles on a wrinkly dog, keep them dry. A wet collar that never dries out, take it off and dry it, or get one that breathes. A dog who swims or gets bathed and stays damp underneath, dry him clear down every single time. For a surprising number of dogs, that one habit alone is the whole fix. Then food, and go patient on this one. If your dog's skin trouble runs all year long, not just in flea weather or the wet months, there is a fair chance something in his bowl is keeping him inflamed and itchy from the inside out. You do not find that with a fancy test, you find it with a food trial. You pick one protein and one starch he has hardly ever eaten, and you feed that and only that, no treats, no table scraps, no flavored chews, for a couple of months, and you watch the skin. It is dull and it takes some backbone, but if the skin quiets down, you have found your cause. If you want a hand setting it up right, that is a fair and honest reason to see the vet and feed the skin while you are at it. A plain fish oil, the omega-3 kind, a couple dollars a bottle, over his supper each day. It helps the skin knit itself back into a barrier and eases the inflammation over time. No cure on its own, but cheap and real, and it earns its place in the plan. A couple of smaller things that carry more weight than they let on. Wash his bedding, hot, and dry it through, because that bed is holding the same germ you are scrubbing off him, and a clean dog set right back down in a filthy bed is halfway to a fresh flare by morning. Keep him lean. A heavy dog has more folds and more trapped damp for trouble to settle into. And keep up Papa's habit. Once a week, lay your hands on your dog and go down through the coat to the skin, feeling as much as looking. You will catch a spot days before it turns into anything. And a spot you catch early, you settle in a bath or two instead of fighting for a month. Now those antibiotic pills, the skin doctors have quietly changed their own thinking on them, and it is worth knowing why, because it is what changed my mind too. For years the reflex, and I do not fault a soul who followed it, was that a skin infection meant a course of antibiotics, and another if it came back. What the specialists have come around to, and put right in their own official guidance now, is that for the common surface infection, the medicated wash done properly should be the first thing you reach for ahead of the pills. Their words, near enough, are that topical treatment on its own is the treatment of choice for the surface kinds. There was even a study that split dogs into two groups, one treated with just the chlorhexidine washing and the other with the oral antibiotic, and the plain washing cleared them up about as well as the pills did, even in the dogs carrying a resistant germ. just the wash done right. And there is a sober reason they are steering back to it. All those years of one antibiotic course after another for skin that kept breaking because no one was fixing the cause have been tied to staph germs that learned to shrug the antibiotics off entirely. Resistant skin infections in dogs are real and they are growing, and every needless course of pills feeds that fire. So doing it the plain way, the washing and the drying and the patient hunt for the cause, is the cheaper road, and as it turns out, the sounder medicine. One more worth knowing on the itch drugs. There is a popular prescription now that shuts the itch right off, and I will be fair, it works. It can give a raw, chewed up, miserable dog real relief, and some dogs genuinely need it. Just understand what it is doing. It quiets the itch signal. It does nothing about why he itches. It is comfort while you do the real work, and if it is the only thing being done, the cause is still sitting there under it, untouched. Use it if your vet says he needs the relief. Just do not mistake it for the answer. And here is the plain shape of the whole business. No one schemed this up in a boardroom. It is simpler and sadder than that. There is steady money in the bottle you buy again every spring, and the pills you run again every flare. And there is no money at all in a man learning to spot the flea bite or dry out the fold or spoon a little fish oil over supper. So the surface fix gets pushed at you from every shelf, and the root fix, the part that actually ends it, you have to come find on your own. That is all this is, not a plot, just a system where the thing that pays is the thing that gets sold, and the thing that costs nothing stays quiet. Let me set it all out plain one more time, then I will let you go. Your dog's skin infection is a symptom, not the sickness underneath it. The germ was always there. Something let it in. Part 1. Clear it off the surface. A plain chlorhexidine wash under $10. Work down to the skin, left to sit a full 10 minutes, rinse clean, and the dog dried all the way down 2 or 3 times a week through a flare and a week past it. Part 2. Fix what let it in. Handle fleas even when you are sure there are none. Clear out the trap damp. Run a real food trial if the itch goes year-round. Add a cheap daily fish oil. Wash the bedding. Keep him lean and lay your hands on him weekly to catch it early. And know the line. A crusty surface patch you handle at home. A hot, swollen, painful, spreading, or feverish infection, or one that never quits, is a real vet's job, and going in is good sense. And if there is a gray old dog asleep at your feet while you watch this, the way there is at mine, then this last part is mostly for you. His skin can still come right. That dog with the spot that flared up faithful every spring was not born faulty, and you did not do this to him. You were handed the small half of the answer and charged $40 a bottle for it, and nobody ever bothered to give you the other half. You can start that real work tonight with a wash you now know how to do and one honest look for whatever keeps letting the infection in. Bear is 13, and his coat has not looked this good in years, and it cost me next to nothing but a little attention paid. Before I go, I would be glad to know one thing from you, so leave it down in the comments. How many bottles of medicated shampoo have you gone through chasing this, and where does your dog break out the worst? The ears, the belly, the base of the tail. I read them, and if this is the kind of plain, no-nonsense doctoring you have been hunting for, the old way of doing right by a dog without a hand in your pocket at every turn, then click subscribe and settle in. I have kept dogs a long time up on this ridge, and there is a whole lot of this old know-how still to pass down, a fix at a time. That is the work here. I will see you at the next one.